Hi, I'm Mark with Macroscopic Solutions, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to set up the Macropod Pro 3D. The Macropod Pro 3D is primarily going to be used for 3D modeling, 3D scanning applications, and basically rotary still photographs as well. But at the same time, you can do everything else with the same configuration, same system. You still have your focus stacking applications, your microscopy applications, and so forth. So what we're going to do is go ahead and walk you through the setup of setting up the Macropod Pro 3D. We're going to start with a tripod, and likewise, same as the standard Macropod Pro, what we're going to do is we're going to extend the arms, only this time we're not going to have the device configured at a 30-degree angle. We're going to extend all arms at 90 degrees. You want to extend the leg on the front arm, and then we want to add our adapter plate, same as before, right through the lower arm. So we'll go ahead and we'll just tighten that into place. The other thing I get in the habit of doing is kind of just taking one side and pressing that direction so that we know that the plate is really nice and aligned towards the camera, so there's no alignment issues. Go ahead and just tighten those down. They're pretty snug. We're going to go ahead and we're going to set our tripod in the position where we're going to be shooting. Okay, next thing we want to do is modify the stack shot stage. So where we have the X and Y stage for our standard macro photography and microscopy applications, we're going to be removing these 4 bolts here, and that is to replace it with the rotary stage. Alright, we'll put that to the side somewhere where we're not going to forget where it is. Okay, the next thing we want to do is take the rotary stage and mount it to our bracket. The other thing I'm going to do is, with the rotary stage, everybody gets one of these little silver bolts. You're going to place that and thread it right down the center, and that's important because of the mount that we're going to be choosing to use later on. So just go ahead and stick that in there. Now we're going to take this same stage, and where the motor on the stack shot is towards the back, we're going to do the same thing with the rotary stage. I usually just hand crank this. Cognisys places a really nice rubber mat on the bottom of this rotary turntable that makes it really grippy. So hand tightening this is more than sufficient for the applications that we're going to be using. So we'll just take that little tapered Allen and we'll just pop it straight up through the big ring on that adapter plate there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to mount the rotary turntable right onto it, and then just start hand turning that Allen in through the bottom so that we thread it into place. Once you have a good distance in there and it starts feeling kind of snug, the next thing you can do is just rotate the rotary table until you get it to a position where now it's situated on there in a really, really good, robust, and sturdy way. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this stage and we're going to clamp it into that lower arm bracket that we already have used. So now everything without the camera should look just like this. Now, depending on sample sizes for this demonstration, we're going to be using a real small B, if you can see it there. So he's down there on the lower bit of the pin. You're going to choose between either the MPE 65mm lens or the 100mm lens. Now you'll want to use the MPE 65 if you're shooting samples that are smaller than 2.5 centimeters. In this case, the B is, so that's the one we're going to use. If you're shooting something that's larger than 2.5 centimeters, the 100 millimeter is your best bet. This will photograph everything from that size upwards to the size of monarchs and so forth, and even larger. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the second adapter and clamp that lens facing towards the rotary stage. Go ahead and tighten it down, make sure that's nice and snug. Now we're going to mount the camera body. Same as always, it's really good to be quick with the lens plates. Dust is always a big problem in photography, but with focus stacking it's an even bigger problem. So remove the lens cap first, then remove the camera body cap, and then you want to just move the camera very slightly, not too much through the air. That way you're not picking up dust on the camera sensor. Just go ahead and put the cap somewhere else. The other thing we're going to do is be taking our flash. You're going to remove the custom plates that we have down from the bottom, because we're not going to be mounting the flash heads down by the sample. This time we're going to be using the flash ring that comes with the flash, and we're going to be using the turtle dove diffusers for 3D modeling. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll clamp this flash into place. Go ahead and remove the lens cap and add the MT23X flash ring and just stick it on the front. You want to go ahead and you'll slide this one into the right side, and likewise with the other side. Now what you want to do is take the diffusers, the turtle dove diffusers, and you'll just go ahead and you'll snap them into place on each flash head. So you can see how mine are facing out rather than in. That's key. You want to face them out because you don't want light protruding from the flash surface here onto the sample. So the idea is for the light to come up, hit this barrier here, which has this opaque tape on the inside, reflects back, hits this inner shell, and then it gets reflected back onto your sample. So you get really nice diffused light this way. So go ahead, we'll pop the other side on, and they're nice and snug now. And then just for keep dust out, we'll just put the lens cap on while we're still setting everything up. The next thing I'm going to do is add these little stands here. So everybody who purchases our systems, we give them complimentary stages as well. So after somebody gets a chance to play with it, understand what types of samples that they're imaging, send us some feedback, and then we'll put together and build you some custom stages to better accommodate your specimens. So in our case, because we're using a pin specimen, we make these little stages which mount right on the top of the rotary stage that are of different lengths depending on the sample size that we're using. Because this one's pretty small, we can get away with using a pretty small mount. And this screws directly onto the rotary stage here. So you can go ahead and you can just screw that in. We also make these in white or black, depends on the contrast or what it is that you're using. Just go ahead and we'll thread that in. Okay, it's nice and snug, and it's also positioned in dead center, which is perfect for what we want to do. The next thing you want to do is take your cables. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach one cable to the stack shot, and then we're going to place the other cable onto the rotary table. We have two there. You're going to take the stack shot 3X. You're going to plug the rotary stage into the Y axis and the focus stacking stage into the X axis. Okay, there we go. You'll set that to the side. Now you'll want to connect your camera up to the stack shot. So take your camera cable, plug it into the camera port. And now we want to plug in our USB cable into the camera body. And connect the battery to your camera body. And the last step will be to apply power onto your StackShot 3X. So this is fully configured now. This is how you're going to be setting up the rotary table for 3D modeling and so forth. The one thing that I didn't mention yet is that these turtle dove diffusers are a new feature. They came out just this year, so if you are a current client of ours, go ahead and contact us and we will send you these diffusers complimentary if you don't already have them. But they're very, very handy for this type of photography, and we'd be happy to give you these so that you have all the tools you need in order to capture the best shot. So that's the Macropod Pro 3D configured, and then what I'll do is I'll produce another video here within the next week, which will show you how to go through and perform capturing a 3D photograph. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this solves your setup problems, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you.